Before we begin, take a slow breath. You are safe, you are warm, you are probably sitting or lying somewhere comfortable, with clean water nearby and a roof that does not leak on your head. This matters because for the next little while, we are going to gently imagine a world where none of that is guaranteed. This is not a story about brave knights or shining castles. This is not the medieval times of movies and video games. There will be no heroic music swelling in the background. Instead, this is a calm walk into the ordinary, boring, uncomfortable reality of medieval life. The kind of life most people actually lived, and the kind of life that would probably defeat you before lunchtime. Tonight's question is simple and slightly rude. Why wouldn't you last a single day in medieval times? Not a year, not a month, not even a heroic week, just one full day. Now, this is not an insult. Medieval life was not designed for comfort, happiness, or personal fulfillment. It was designed for survival, barely, and even that was not always successful. The people of the Middle Ages were tough in a way that modern humans no longer need to be. Their strength was quiet, constant, and very tired. Imagine for a moment that you fall asleep tonight in your own bed, but when you wake up, everything is different. There is no alarm clock, no phone buzzing gently beside you, no soft mattress. Instead, you wake because your body is cold, the kind of cold that feels damp and stubborn, like it is soaked into your bones and decided to stay. The room smells faintly of smoke, old wood, and something you would rather not identify. You are not alone in this room. You might be sharing it with family members, possibly animals, maybe a goat. The goat is not there for emotional support. This is medieval life. One of the biggest mistakes we make when thinking about the past is imagining ourselves in it, unchanged. We imagine our modern selves walking confidently into history, armed with common sense and good posture. But the truth is, medieval life shaped people from birth. Their bodies, habits, and expectations were built for hardship. Yours were built for chairs. You expect privacy. Medieval people did not. You expect comfort. Medieval people expected endurance. You expect improvement. Medieval people expected repetition. Most days were the same. Wake up tired, work while tired, eat while tired, go to sleep still tired. If that sounds boring, that is because it was, and boredom was a luxury compared to hunger, illness, or injury. In medieval times, discomfort was not a problem to solve. It was just the background noise of life. You did not complain about the cold. The cold was normal. You did not complain about pain. Pain meant you were still alive. You did not complain about hunger. Hunger meant you might eat tomorrow. This mindset alone would be enough to overwhelm a modern person before breakfast. There is also the issue of expectations. Today, if something feels wrong, we assume it should be fixed. If we are sick, we rest. If we are sad, we talk about it. If we are uncomfortable, we buy something to solve it. Medieval people did not live in a world of solutions. They lived in a world of acceptance. Acceptance of cold, acceptance of loss, acceptance of death showing up early and often, like an unwanted neighbor who never moves away. Life expectancy was short, but not in the dramatic way people often imagine. Most people did not drop dead at 30. Instead, life slowly wore them down. Infection, injury, malnutrition, exhaustion. One small thing piling onto another until the body finally stopped arguing. And yet, people lived. They worked. They laughed sometimes. They told stories. They loved their families. This is important to remember. Medieval people were not miserable all the time, but their baseline for what counted as fine was very different from yours. If you were dropped into medieval times today, your first mistake would be assuming you could adapt quickly. You might think, humans are resilient, I'll figure it out. But resilience is trained slowly, over years, not downloaded overnight. Your hands are too soft, your stomach is too picky, your immune system is too sheltered, Your patience is too short, and that's just the physical part. Mentally, medieval life required a kind of quiet surrender. You did not plan long-term dreams. You planned the next meal, the next harvest, the next winter. Hope existed, but it was practical and small. Surviving the week was an achievement worth celebrating. Even joy was different. It was quieter, less flashy. A good loaf of bread, a warm fire, a holy day where work paused for a moment. These were victories. Modern joy is loud. Medieval joy was subtle. This channel is called Boring History for Sleep, and that name fits perfectly here. Because the real danger of medieval life was not constant excitement. It was the slow grind, the endless sameness, the feeling that tomorrow would look exactly like today, except your back might hurt a little more. Tonight, we will explore cold rooms, bad food, sore bodies, strange smells, and quiet fears. Not to shock you, not to scare you awake, but softly to remind you how unusual your current comfort really is. For now, let your mind settle. The past is waiting, but it is in no hurry. Medieval time moves slowly, painfully slowly. And tomorrow, when you wake up warm and safe, you might feel just a little grateful that you did not wake up in a smoky wooden room with a goat staring at you. Take another slow breath. The day has only just begun. Morning in medieval times does not arrive gently. There is no soft light through clean windows. There is no quiet alarm sound that feels polite. Morning arrives because your body has had enough of being cold. Your muscles ache. Your fingers feel stiff. Your nose is cold in a way that feels personal. You open your eyes, but it does not help much. The room is dim, even after sunrise. Medieval houses are not designed to let light in. Windows are small, sometimes just holes with wooden shutters. Glass is rare and expensive. If there is glass, it is cloudy and uneven, like it gave up halfway through its job. You are lying on a bed, but calling it a bed is being generous. It is a wooden frame filled with straw. The straw has opinions. It pokes you. It shifts under your weight. It smells faintly of old plants and older dust. If you are lucky, there is a thin blanket on top. If you are very lucky, it is not damp. There is no concept of a mattress that hugs your spine or supports your neck. Medieval sleep is not about comfort. It's about stopping for a few hours before starting again. Sleep is a pause button, not a luxury experience. You probably did not sleep alone. Privacy is rare. Families share beds. Children sleep next to parents. Sometimes servants sleep in the same room. Sometimes animals sleep nearby because animals are valuable and warm. If a chicken wanders past, no one is surprised. You wake up sore. This is normal. Everyone wakes up sore. Even children, especially children. Life has already started working on their joints. There is no clock to tell you the time. Time is judged by light, bells, and habit. You wake when it is light enough to work, or when someone else moves and wakes you up. Sleep schedules are loose and uneven. In winter, nights are long. In summer, they're short. Your body adjusts whether it wants to or not. If you slept poorly, that is unfortunate, but not important. The day will continue anyway. One of the strangest things for a modern person would be how normal exhaustion feels. Today, being tired feels like a problem. In medieval times, being tired feels like proof that you are alive and doing what you are supposed to do. You stretch, slowly, carefully. Your muscles complain, but you ignore them. Everyone ignores pain. Pain is not a signal to stop. It is background noise, like the wind or the creaking of wood. The air inside the house smells of smoke. The hearth burned through the night, or maybe it burned yesterday and the smell never really left. Smoke clings to clothes, hair, walls, lungs. Over time, people stop noticing it. You would notice it immediately. You would probably cough. That would also be normal. Your clothes are nearby. You sleep in them or something very close to them. There are no soft pajamas. Clothes are heavy, rough, and worn often. Washing them is hard work, so it doesn't happen often. The fabric scratches your skin. You stop caring. Getting dressed doesn't take long because there aren't many choices. There is no mirror, or if there is, it is polished metal and not very helpful. Appearance is less important than warmth and durability. Fashion exists, but it is quiet and limited for most people. You stand up and the floor is cold, always cold. Shoes help a little, not much. The ground beneath the house does not care about your comfort. Outside, the village is waking up slowly. There is no rush, but there is urgency. Work must begin early. Daylight is precious. You do not waste it scrolling through thoughts or staring at walls. Thinking happens while working. Breakfast, if it exists, is simple. Maybe bread, maybe porridge, maybe nothing. Hunger is expected in the morning. Eating later feels normal. You drink something, but not water unless you trust the source. Often it is weak ale, not to get drunk, just to stay alive. The idea of waking up and immediately enjoying yourself would seem strange here. Mornings are not for enjoyment, they are for starting. One of the hardest things for a modern person would be how little softness there is. There are very few soft surfaces in medieval life. Wood, stone, wool, straw. Everything pushes back against your body. Nothing cushions you. Over time, bodies adapt, skin thickens, muscles harden, but it takes years. You don't have years, you have today. Sleep, even when it happens, is not deep in the way you expect. Nights are full of sounds: animals, wind, creaking buildings, people coughing, someone else getting up to tend the fire, someone else shifting in their sleep. Silence is rare. And yet, people sleep because they must, because the body learns to rest when it can. Even shallow sleep is better than none. Modern sleep advice would not survive medieval reality. Dark room, quiet space, comfortable mattress. These things are luxuries. Medieval sleep happens wherever it fits into the day. You would miss your pillow more than you expect. Not just the softness, but the safety, the feeling that sleep is protected. In medieval times, sleep is practical, not sacred. You sleep because tomorrow is coming whether you are ready or not. As the morning moves on, the tiredness does not fade. It settles. It becomes part of you. Coffee does not exist. Neither does the idea of waking up refreshed. Feeling okay enough is the goal. And still, this is normal. No one complains. No one expects better. This is just how mornings feel. If you are already missing your pillow, don't worry. The day has barely started. There's plenty more discomfort waiting for you. But for now, the medieval morning stretches ahead, slow and unavoidable. You take a breath, you step outside, and the cold follows you. The cold in medieval times is not dramatic. It does not arrive with thunder or snowstorms every day. It is worse than that. It is quiet. It is patient. It settles in and refuses to leave. This is the kind of cold that lives with you. You feel it first in the morning, when you step outside, or even when you stay inside, because inside is not much warmer. Medieval houses are built to stand, not to comfort. Walls are thick, yes, but insulation is a mystery no one has solved yet. Heat escapes through cracks, roofs, doors, and those small, unhappy windows. If there is a fire, it helps a little, a very little. The fire warms the air right in front of it, but the rest of the room remains cold and damp. You learn quickly where to stand. Too close and you burn. Too far and you freeze. There is no perfect spot. Medieval life is full of almost good enough solutions. In winter, the cold becomes a constant companion. You wake with it, you work with it, you eat with it, you sleep with it. It creeps into your fingers and toes first, then slowly works its way inward. You do not fight it anymore. Fighting takes energy. You accept it. Clothing helps, but only to a point. Most people wear wool, layered again and again. Wool is itchy. Wool is heavy. Wool smells like sheep because it is sheep, but wool stays warm even when damp, and damp is unavoidable. Rain, fog, sweat, snow, everything is a little wet all the time. Shoes are thin. Gloves are rare. Hats help, but wind finds a way in. Your hands crack. Your lips split. Skin hardens and roughens. This is normal. Soft skin does not last long here. Modern people often imagine medieval winters as something you get through, but the truth is, cold is not seasonal enough to disappear. Even in summer, mornings are cold, nights are cold. Stone buildings hold chill like memory. Sunlight warms surfaces, not air. There is also the problem of dampness. Medieval Europe is not dry and cozy. It is muddy. Rain turns roads into thick brown soup. Homes sit close to the ground. Moisture rises through floors. Clothes never fully dry. Blankets feel heavy with yesterday's air. Cold plus damp is a special kind of misery. It makes joints ache. It makes coughs linger. It makes wounds heal slowly. Doctors do not know why people get sick in winter, but everyone notices that they do. If you are poor, and most people are, you cannot afford extra fuel. Firewood is precious. You do not burn it unless you must. Sometimes the fire goes out at night. Sometimes it stays out. You sleep fully dressed. You pile on what you have. You curl inward like an animal. Even then, the cold presses in. It does not care about effort. Children grow up in this cold. Elderly people fade in it. Cold is not just uncomfortable, it is dangerous. It weakens the body slowly, quietly, without warning signs you would recognize. There is no thermostat, no weather forecast, no heated bathroom waiting for you. If you need to relieve yourself, you go outside or to a cold corner of the house. Your breath fogs. You hurry not for privacy, but for warmth. The idea of warming up later doesn't really exist. You warm briefly, then you cool again. Warmth is temporary, cold is permanent. And yet, medieval people adapt. They move constantly. Movement creates heat. Standing still is uncomfortable. Sitting still is worse. Work keeps the blood moving. This is one reason rest feels suspicious. Rest means cooling down. Modern people rest to recover. Medieval people rest only when forced. The cold also shapes daily behavior. People gather close together. Animals are brought indoors. Body heat matters. Personal space disappears in winter. Everyone smells a little stronger. No one mentions it. Meals help, but food is limited. Hot food is rare. Warm drinks help briefly. Then the cold returns, unimpressed. You might think, I could handle the cold, I've been cold before, but modern cold is optional. You step inside, you add a layer, you turn something on. Medieval cold is unavoidable. It follows you indoors, it waits for you at night. It is also boring, that's the important part. The cold does not feel like an adventure. It feels like a long, dull inconvenience that never ends. It wears you down slowly, not dramatically. People complain less than you would expect. Complaining does not change anything. The cold is not listening. Instead, people endure. Endurance becomes habit. Habit becomes life. By midday, your fingers are stiff. You fumble small tasks. Dexterity is a luxury. Precision takes effort. Mistakes happen more easily. Cuts and scrapes are common. In the cold, they heal slowly. If snow falls, work continues anyway. Snow is beautiful for about 5 minutes, then it becomes water in your shoes. If winter is especially harsh, people die, quietly. No announcement, no surprise, just absence. A place at the table stays empty. This knowledge sits in the background of every cold day. You do not panic about it. Panic takes energy. You simply keep going. Modern heating has trained your body to expect comfort. Medieval cold trains the body to expect nothing. By evening, the cold feels heavier. Darkness comes early. The fire is lit again if there is fuel. Shadows dance on walls. Smoke thickens the air. Warmth gathers briefly in the center of the room. You lean towards it. Everyone does. When you finally lie down to sleep, the cold settles in again. The straw mattress offers no insulation. The floor breathes chill upward. You tuck your feet under yourself and hope. Tomorrow will be similar. The cold will still be there, waiting, patient, unimpressed by your efforts. If you are already tired just thinking about it, that makes sense. Medieval cold is exhausting, not because it hurts, but because it never stops. And the day is still not over. At some point during the day, your body reminds you of something very basic. You are thirsty. Not dramatic thirst, just that dry, quiet feeling in your mouth that says, it would be nice to drink some water now. This is where medieval life becomes a little awkward. Because water, the thing you trust without thinking, is suddenly suspicious. You see a river nearby. It looks calm, maybe even pretty. Sunlight reflects off it. Birds might be nearby. Your modern brain says, great, water. Your medieval survival instincts, if you had them, would say absolutely not. Rivers in medieval times are not just rivers. They are everything rivers are not supposed to be. They are washing areas. They are dumping grounds. They are toilets. They are where animal carcasses sometimes end up. They are where waste quietly drifts downstream, hopefully away from someone important. Everyone knows this. No one is shocked. This is just how it works. So drinking straight from a river is a gamble. Sometimes you win, sometimes you do not. And losing does not mean a bad stomach for one afternoon. Losing can mean days of illness, dehydration, or something much worse. You might wonder why people don't just boil water. Sometimes they do, but boiling takes fuel, and fuel is precious. You do not waste firewood unless you must. Every decision is weighed against winter. Instead, many people drink ale, not strong ale, weak ale, barely alcoholic. The brewing process kills some of the dangerous things living in the water. It's not perfect, but it's safer, so children drink it, workers drink it, old people drink it. This does not mean everyone is drunk all the time. It means everyone is trying not to get sick. The idea of fresh, clean drinking water available at any moment would sound magical, almost suspicious, like a trick. Wells exist, but they are not always safe either. If a well is too close to waste pits or animals, it becomes contaminated. No one knows about bacteria. People judge water by taste, smell, and luck. If water looks clear, it might still hurt you. If it tastes fine, it might still hurt you. This uncertainty hangs over something as simple as taking a drink. Thirst becomes something you manage carefully. You sip instead of gulp. You drink when it feels necessary, not when it feels nice. You learn which sources are usually okay and hope today is one of the good days. Modern hydration advice would not survive medieval reality. Drink 8 glasses a day? From where, exactly? And at what risk? Illness from bad water is common. Diarrhea, stomach pain, weakness. These are not dramatic illnesses. They are slow, draining, dangerous because they remove strength quietly. A person can work while sick until they suddenly cannot. There's no quick treatment. Rest helps, but rest is a luxury. If you don't work, you don't eat. So many people work through illness, making it worse. Children suffer the most. Small bodies cannot afford fluid loss. Many do not survive early childhood. This is not spoken of with constant sadness. It is simply known. Life is fragile. Everyone understands this early. Bathing does not help the situation. Baths are rare. Water must be heated and carried. Most people wash parts of their body, not the whole thing. Hands, face, maybe feet. Full bathing happens occasionally, not daily. This means dirt, sweat, and bacteria build up. Combined with questionable water sources, infection spreads easily. A small cut washed with bad water can become serious. Even washing clothes is risky. Clothes are cleaned in rivers or communal areas. They dry slowly. Sometimes they never fully dry. Damp fabric against skin causes rashes and sores. You begin to understand that water, something you think of as refreshing, is treated with caution here. It is respected. It is feared a little. If you complain, no one argues with you. They just shrug. Water has always been like this. What else would it be? The smell of medieval towns does not help. Streets are narrow. Waste is thrown outside. Rain washes it away eventually, hopefully towards someone else. When it doesn't rain, it sits there. Water flows through all of this. If you live in a city, conditions are worse. More people, more waste, more contamination. Rural life is cleaner, but still risky. Animals live close to humans. Their waste mixes with everything. And yet, people adapt. They build habits around danger. Certain wells are trusted, certain streams avoided. Elders pass down advice. Do not drink from there.
that place is usually fine. Survival knowledge spreads quietly. Your modern instinct to demand better conditions would confuse people. Better than what? This is water. This is how it has always been. There's also the issue of effort. Carrying water is hard work. Buckets are heavy. Paths are uneven. Spills happen. Every drop matters. You do not waste water for comfort. Spilling water feels like spilling time and energy. You would miss faucets more than you expect. Turning a handle and trusting what comes out feels small until it's gone. By the end of the day, your throat is dry again. You drink what is available. You hope it behaves itself inside you. Most days it does. Some days it does not. This constant low-level risk adds to the mental fatigue of medieval life. Even basic needs require attention and judgment. There's no autopilot. You do not drink thoughtlessly. You do not clean thoughtlessly. You do not trust thoughtlessly. Water, the thing that should give life, always carries a question mark. As night approaches, thirst returns gently. You take another careful drink, not too much, just enough. Tomorrow, you will do this again, and again, and again. If you're starting to miss your kitchen sink, that's understandable. Medieval survival depends on noticing dangers you never had to think about before, and this is still only one day.
By now, your stomach has started to complain in a low, steady way. Not dramatic hunger, just that dull, empty feeling that reminds you food exists and would be appreciated. In medieval times, hunger is not an emergency. It is a familiar companion, like the cold or the damp. You notice it, you acknowledge it, and then you keep going. Food is simple here, very simple. There are no menus, no choices, no sudden cravings that can be satisfied in minutes. You eat what exists, and what exists depends on the season, the harvest, and a little bit of luck. Most days, the foundation of every meal is bread. Not soft bread, not warm, fluffy bread that smells comforting. This bread is dark, dense, and heavy. It is made from coarse grain, often mixed with whatever was available: barley, rye, sometimes oats, sometimes things that are not grains at all. You chew slowly. The bread demands it. Your jaw works harder than it is used to. Eating takes time, and not because it is enjoyable, because it is work. Porridge appears often. Grain boiled in water. Maybe milk if you are lucky. Maybe flavored with salt. Maybe not. It fills the stomach. That is its job. Enjoyment is optional. Vegetables are seasonal. Onions, leeks, cabbage, peas, these are common. Fresh vegetables are a brief luxury in warmer months. In winter, everything is preserved, dried, or pickled. Texture becomes less interesting over time. Meat exists, but not often. For most people, meat is an occasional visitor, not a daily habit. When it appears, it is celebrated quietly. Small portions are shared. Nothing is wasted. Bones are boiled. Fat is saved. If you are rich, food looks different. More variety, more spices, more meat. But you are probably not rich. Most people are not. Hunger sits in the background of every day. Even when you eat, you are rarely full in the way you expect. There is enough to keep going, not enough to feel satisfied. This constant, mild hunger shapes behavior. You think about food often. You plan around it. You save scraps. You watch the seasons carefully. A bad harvest is not an inconvenience. It is a disaster. Starvation is not rare. It arrives quietly during hard years. People grow thinner. Children grow slower. Work becomes harder. Illness spreads faster. Food is fuel, not pleasure. Modern eating is filled with choice. Medieval eating is filled with caution. You do not eat too much at once, because there may not be more later. You do not complain about taste, because taste is not the point. Even the act of cooking is demanding. Fires must be tended. Pots are heavy. Recipes are simple because complexity wastes energy. Meals take time and effort, and they must feed many. Spices exist, but they are expensive. For most people, flavor comes from salt and habit. If you are lucky, herbs from a garden add variety. Your modern taste buds would struggle. You would miss sweetness. Sugar is rare. Fruit is seasonal. Honey is precious. Desserts are not a daily expectation. You would also miss the feeling of being full and comfortable. Medieval meals rarely provide that. Instead, they provide enough strength to continue working. Eating is social, but not leisurely. People eat together because it makes sense, not because it is an event. Conversation happens, but quietly. Time is always moving. If you get sick from food, it is unfortunate but expected. Preservation methods are limited. Food spoils. People learn to recognize when something smells wrong, but mistakes happen. Illness from food adds to weakness. Weakness adds to hunger. The cycle continues. Children feel hunger early in life. It shapes their bodies. Growth is slower. Bones are smaller. Strength comes from endurance, not abundance. You might think you could adjust, and you could, eventually, but not in one day. Your body expects regular meals, snacks, variety. Medieval life offers none of that. By evening, you eat again if there is food. The same bread, the same porridge, maybe a little vegetable stew. It is warm, and that matters. Warm food feels comforting, even when it is plain. You eat slowly. You stop before you are full. There might be more work tomorrow. The quiet frustration of hunger is exhausting. It is not sharp. It is not dramatic. It is just always there. And yet, people find moments of pleasure. A particularly good loaf, a rare piece of meat, a shared meal on a holy day. These moments stand out because they are rare. Modern abundance has trained you to expect satisfaction. Medieval food trains you to accept adequacy. As you lie down to sleep, your stomach is not empty, but it is not content. This feels normal here. Tomorrow, you will eat again. Similar food, similar portions, similar hunger. If you are already thinking fondly of your refrigerator, that makes sense. Medieval survival depends on learning to live with less and wanting less, because wanting more only makes things harder. And the day continues. By the time the day has properly begun, your body has already started complaining. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a steady collection of small messages that all say the same thing. This is harder than expected. In medieval times, pain is not a surprise. It is not something you ask about or analyze. Pain is simply part of having a body. From the moment people are old enough to work, their bodies begin collecting aches like souvenirs. Work starts early in life. Children do not ease into it. There is no gentle transition period. If you can carry something, you carry something. If you can stand, you stand. Small hands learn big tasks quickly. Farming alone would overwhelm a modern person. Digging, planting, harvesting, lifting, hauling, all done by hand. Tools exist, but they are heavy and imperfect. Blisters form, calluses replace them. Backs bend, knees protest. No one stops. If you are not a farmer, your work is still physical. Blacksmiths, carpenters, bakers, weavers, everything requires repetitive motion. Repetition wears the body down in quiet ways. Shoulders stiffen, wrists ache, fingers lose flexibility. There are no ergonomic tools, no supportive footwear, no stretching routines recommended by anyone. You work until the work is done, not until your body feels comfortable. Pain relief is limited. Herbs exist, but they are weak. Alcohol dulls pain slightly, but it also dulls coordination. Most people simply endure. You would be shocked by how early pain becomes normal. By adulthood, most people have at least one lingering injury: a bad knee, a stiff shoulder, a hand that never healed quite right. This is not treated as a tragedy. It is treated as a fact. Rest is rare. Rest without guilt is even rarer. If you rest while others work, you feel it. Social pressure is strong. Everyone must contribute. Even sitting hurts.
Benches are hard, floors are harder. There are no cushions waiting for you. Your spine does all the work. Sleep does not heal pain the way you expect. Straw mattresses do not support injured bodies. Cold makes everything worse. You wake up stiff, not refreshed. Modern medicine teaches us to listen to pain. Medieval life teaches you to ignore it. A small injury can become serious. A cut becomes infected. A twisted ankle never fully heals. Without proper care, bodies adapt around injuries instead of fixing them. This leads to imbalance, more pain, more strain. There are no physical therapists, no scans, no explanations. You do not ask why something hurts, you just notice that it does. Women carry a unique burden of pain. Pregnancy is dangerous. Childbirth is painful and risky. Recovery is slow, if it happens at all. Many women return to work soon after giving birth because they must. Pain does not pause life. Life continues through it. If you complain, people listen politely, but nothing changes. Everyone hurts. Your pain is not special. This is not cruelty, it is practicality. Even laughter hurts sometimes. Muscles ache when you move. Joints grind softly. You become careful without realizing it. By midday, fatigue settles deep into your bones. Not sleepiness, something heavier, a full-body tiredness that does not go away with rest. You eat, it helps a little. You keep working. Modern bodies are used to variety, sitting, standing, walking. Medieval bodies repeat the same movements for hours. Repetition creates strength, but also damage. Shoes offer little support. Feet ache constantly. Foot injuries are common. Without good footwear, posture suffers. Pain climbs upward from the ground. Your hands look different after years of work. Thick skin, stiff fingers, scars that never fade. Each one tells a story no one asks about. Even children limp sometimes. No one panics. They are expected to grow out of it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they do not. You begin to understand that medieval strength is not about avoiding pain, it is about functioning despite it. This constant discomfort shapes behavior. People move carefully. They choose tasks wisely. They know their limits, not because limits are respected, but because exceeding them can mean losing the ability to work at all. There is no safety net. If your body fails, life becomes very difficult very quickly. Even leisure activities involve physical effort, games, dances, celebrations. Joy is active, not passive. You earn it with tired muscles. As evening approaches, pain increases, muscles cool, stiffness sets in. You stretch unconsciously, trying to ease it. You sit near the fire. Heat helps, briefly. Sleep offers a pause, not a cure. Tomorrow, pain will be there again, waiting patiently. If you are used to comfort, this would be overwhelming. Your body would resist. It would demand rest, care, explanation. Medieval life offers none of those consistently. And yet, people endure, they adapt, they grow strong in ways that are invisible to us. Strength here is not about lifting heavy things once, it's about lifting medium things every day, forever. As you lie down, your body hums with soreness. This is familiar to everyone around you. No one comments on it. Pain is not the enemy, it is the environment. And the day is still not done.
At some point during your medieval day, you notice something unsettling. People cough a lot. Not politely, not into elbows, just open, tired coughing that echoes through rooms and streets. Someone nearby has a limp that is getting worse. Another person has a wound that looks angry and red. No one reacts with panic. This is normal. Disease is not a visitor in medieval life. It is a roommate. Illness is everywhere, all the time. Big illnesses, small illnesses, slow illnesses, sudden illnesses. Some pass, some stay. Some quietly end lives without much warning. And the scariest part is not how dramatic disease can be, it is how ordinary it feels. People do not ask, will I get sick? They ask, how sick will I get and will I recover? There's no real concept of prevention, no vaccines, no germ theory. People do not know that invisible organisms are doing most of the damage. They know sickness spreads, but they explain it through bad air, bad smells, bad luck, or divine judgment. If someone gets ill, the first response is patience. Illness often runs its course. If it does not, then treatments begin. Treatments are creative. Doctors exist, but they are rare and expensive. Most medical care comes from barber surgeons, local healers, or family knowledge passed down quietly. Bloodletting is popular, very popular. The idea is simple. If something is wrong inside, remove some blood and hope the body sorts itself out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it makes things worse. No one keeps statistics. Herbs are used often. Some help, some do nothing. Some are dangerous. Dosage is guesswork. If a patient survives, the treatment is praised. If not, it was simply their time. Pain relief is minimal. Surgery happens without anesthesia. If something must be cut, it is cut quickly. Speed is considered kindness. Infection is the real enemy. A small cut on your hand can become swollen and hot. Red lines creep up the skin. Fever follows. There are no antibiotics waiting to save you. The body either wins or it does not. People know this. They treat wounds carefully, but tools are not sterile. Water is questionable. Hands are not clean. Even good intentions can lead to disaster. Teeth are another quiet problem. Toothaches are common and miserable. There is no dentistry as you know it. If a tooth rots, it may be pulled. If it becomes infected, the infection can spread. Some people die from teeth. This is not considered strange. Children are especially vulnerable. Fevers take them quickly. Many families expect to lose at least one child. This does not mean they love them less. It means they brace themselves emotionally from the beginning. Plagues appear from time to time, sweeping through towns and villages. When they arrive, fear spreads, but so does resignation. People pray. People flee if they can. People die. What you would find most unsettling is how calm everyone seems about it. Not happy, not careless, just realistic. When death is common, panic becomes exhausting. If you fall ill, you are not isolated in a quiet room with soft blankets. You stay where you are. Life continues around you. People step over you if they must. Someone brings food if they can. Rest helps, but rest does not cure infection. It only gives the body a chance to fight. Sometimes that's enough. Sometimes it is not. There is also the constant background of parasites, lice, fleas, worms. These are facts of life. People scratch. Children scratch more. No one is surprised. Skin conditions are common. Rashes, sores, fungal infections. They itch. They sting. They are treated with ointments that may or may not help. Smell plays a strange role in medieval medicine. Bad smells are thought to cause illness, so people carry herbs or flowers to protect themselves. This helps emotionally, if nothing else. Mental illness exists too, though it is not understood. Depression, anxiety, trauma. These are explained through spirits, sin, or weakness. Support varies. Some people are cared for, others are ignored. You would miss diagnosis more than treatment. Knowing what is wrong feels comforting. Medieval life rarely offers that clarity. You are sick. Why? No one knows. How long will it last? No one knows. This uncertainty is exhausting. And still, people laugh. They joke about illness. Humor helps. If you cannot cure something, you learn to live alongside it. Someone coughs and says, "Still breathing," that is considered good news. As evening comes, you feel a slight ache in your throat, or maybe a headache. In modern life, this would be a mild annoyance. Here, it triggers a quiet calculation. Is this nothing or the beginning of something serious? You drink carefully. You rest when you can. You hope. Hope is not dramatic here. It's practical. Hope that tomorrow is not worse than today. When you lie down to sleep, illness does not leave. It waits. It always waits. If you are healthy, you are grateful, but you do not assume it will last. Health is temporary. Sickness is familiar. Modern life has trained you to expect recovery. Medieval life teaches you to accept uncertainty. And somehow, life continues anyway. At some quiet moment in your medieval day, probably when your head is already tired and your body is sore, you notice something missing. It takes a while to realize what it is. Then it hits you. You are never alone. Not in a peaceful way, not in a comforting way, just never alone. Privacy, as you understand it, does not exist here. It is not rare. It is not limited. It is simply not a thing. The idea of having your own room, your own space, or even your own thoughts without an audience would sound strange, maybe even suspicious. Most medieval homes are one room, one shared space where everything happens: sleeping, eating, working, talking, arguing, caring for children, sometimes even caring for animals, all in the same place. If you are imagining a cozy little cottage with quiet corners, you may want to lower your expectations. That cottage is full and loud and smells like smoke and sheep. Families sleep together. Parents, children, sometimes grandparents. Beds are shared. Floor space is shared. If someone moves, everyone notices. If someone snores, everyone knows. And if you wake up in the night, so does someone else. Personal space is measured in inches, not rooms. You learn to exist close to other people. Elbows touch, feet overlap. Breathing is shared. There is no locking door you can hide behind. Doors exist, but they are thin, practical, and rarely closed for long. Sounds travel easily. Walls do not keep secrets. Even bodily functions are not private. If you need to relieve yourself, you do it where it is possible, not where it is comfortable. Sometimes that is outside. Sometimes that is in a shared area. Modesty exists, but privacy does not support it very well. Bathing, when it happens, is shared too. Communal baths are common in some places. People take turns or bathe together. This is not considered strange. Bodies are bodies. Everyone has one. Everyone is tired. If you are feeling embarrassed, that is a modern habit. Medieval people learn early that embarrassment does not help. Conversations are never truly private either. If you whisper, someone hears. If you argue, everyone hears. Gossip travels fast because it does not have far to go. This constant closeness creates strong community bonds, but it also creates tension. Small annoyances grow quickly when there is nowhere to escape them. A loud eater, a constant cough, a bad mood that fills the room like smoke. And yet, people adapt. They learn when to speak and when to stay quiet. Silence becomes a skill, so does ignoring things on purpose. You would miss being alone more than you expect, not just physically, but mentally. Time to think without interruption. Time to breathe without someone else's presence pressing in. Even work offers little escape. Fields are shared. Workshops are busy. Tasks are done together. Solitude is rare and often unintentional. If you wander off alone, people notice. Being alone too often can make others suspicious. Why are you avoiding people? What are you doing? Community survival depends on visibility. There is safety in this closeness. If you fall, someone sees. If you are sick, someone notices. If you disappear, people ask questions. This protects you, but it also traps you. Modern life values independence. Medieval life values belonging. You are part of a group whether you want to be or not. Children grow up with constant supervision, not always gentle supervision, but constant presence. There is always an adult nearby, sometimes many adults. Discipline is public, praise is public, mistakes are public. There is no safe, private space to fail quietly. Marriage does not bring privacy either.
Married couples share space with others. Intimacy exists, but it is quick and careful. Walls are thin. Ears are everywhere. You learn to ignore sounds. You learn to pretend you did not notice. This is a social skill, not denial. The lack of privacy also affects grief. When someone is sad, everyone knows. When someone dies, the body stays in the home for a time. Mourning is shared. There is no quiet corner to process loss alone. For some people, this closeness is comforting. Loneliness is rare, isolation is rare. Someone is always nearby. For a modern person, this would feel overwhelming. Your mind would crave silence. Your nerves would ask for space. You would want to close a door and just exist for a moment. But medieval life does not pause for your nervous system. Even sleep is public. You toss and turn with others nearby. Dreams are shared stories in the morning. Nightmares are not hidden. If you talk in your sleep, everyone knows. The idea of alone time would sound indulgent. Why would you need that? What work are you avoiding? And yet, people find small moments, early mornings, late nights, a quiet walk. These moments are brief and precious. Silence exists, but it is not guaranteed. As evening settles in, everyone gathers again. The room fills. Stories are told. Arguments happen. Laughter breaks out. Someone coughs. Someone shifts. Someone else sighs. You sit there, surrounded, tired, wishing for a little space you will not get. Privacy is not considered a need here. It is not missing because no one expects it. But you do, and that makes medieval life feel heavier than you imagined. You lie down to sleep, inches from another person, listening to their breathing, feeling the floor's cold rise up, and you realize something quietly important. You are not just sharing space, you are sharing existence. Tomorrow will be the same.
At this point in the day, something becomes impossible to ignore. It is not one thing, it is everywhere. It sits in the air, clings to clothes, and settles into your nose until you stop noticing it. Medieval life smells. Not in a dramatic, shocking way, not in a way that makes people run away screaming. It smells in a slow, steady, unavoidable way, the kind of smell that becomes part of the background, like wind or rain. Cleanliness exists, but hygiene as you know it does not. Bathing is rare, not because people hate being clean, but because being clean takes work. Water must be carried, heated, used carefully, then disposed of. This is not something you do every day without thinking. Most people wash parts of themselves, hands, face, maybe feet. Full bathing happens occasionally, sometimes seasonally. If you bathe too often, people might worry you are wasting resources or acting strangely. Soap exists, but it is rough and limited. It smells strong. It dries skin. People use it when necessary, not for pleasure. Clothes are washed infrequently. Washing takes time and strength. Heavy, wet fabric is hard to handle. Clothes dry slowly, especially in damp weather, so people wear them again and again. Over time, sweat, smoke, dirt, and life build up in fabric. This becomes normal. Everyone smells similar. You stop noticing individual odors and notice only when something is unusually bad. Homes do not help. Smoke from the hearth fills rooms. It coats walls. It settles in hair. Eyes sting. Lungs adapt, but coughing is common. Floors are dirt or rough wood. They collect everything: food scraps, mud, ash, animal waste. Cleaning happens, but it is basic. Sweeping, scraping, hoping rain helps. Streets are worse. Narrow paths between buildings become dumping grounds. Waste is thrown outside. People shout warnings before emptying pots, if they are polite. If not, you learn to watch where you walk. Rain washes some of it away, sometimes toward rivers, sometimes into puddles, sometimes nowhere. Animals live close to people. Chickens wander freely. Pigs roam streets in some towns. Horses leave evidence wherever they go. This is accepted. Animals are part of life, not separate from it. This closeness adds warmth and food security, but also dirt and disease. People step carefully, but accidents happen. Shoes offer little protection. Your sense of cleanliness would struggle here, not because people are careless, but because standards are different. Clean enough is the goal, not clean. Hands are rarely washed before meals. This is not neglect. Water is precious. People assume a certain level of dirt is unavoidable. Wounds are exposed to this environment. Scratches become infected easily. Skin problems are common. People scratch a lot. No one comments on it. Hair is washed infrequently. It is often covered. Head coverings help with lice and dirt. Lice are common. Everyone has dealt with them at some point. It is unpleasant, but not shocking. You would itch more than you expect. Toilets, as you know them, do not exist. Privies are pits. Chamber pots are emptied regularly, sometimes into streets, sometimes into designated areas, sometimes wherever is convenient. Smell follows. Cities smell stronger than villages. More people, more waste, less space. Disease spreads more easily. This is known, but cities are still important for trade and work. If you complain about the smell, people understand, but they do not apologize. There is nothing to apologize for. This is how things are. Even food smells different. Cooking smells linger. Food is stored in ways that allow odor to develop. Spices sometimes hide this, sometimes they do not. The idea of scent-free living would be unimaginable. Smell is information here. You recognize people by it, places too. You would feel constantly slightly dirty, not covered in mud, but never fully clean. This wears on the mind more than the body. Cleanliness in medieval life is about function, not comfort. You clean what must be cleaned to keep going. The rest is tolerated. And yet, people adapt. They develop stronger stomachs. They stop noticing. They focus on what matters: work, family, survival. Children play in dirt and grow up strong. Adults accept grime as a sign of effort. By evening, your clothes feel heavy. Your skin feels tired. You long for water and soap and time. You wipe your hands. You wipe your face. It helps a little. Tomorrow, it will return. Modern life has taught you to chase cleanliness. Medieval life teaches you to live with dirt. This does not mean people enjoy filth. It means they do not let it stop them. As you lie down to sleep, surrounded by the familiar smells of smoke, sweat, and life, your nose finally gives up trying to analyze it all. You breathe, you rest, you accept, and the day moves on. At some point, usually when your body is already tired and your mind would really like a break, you realize something important about medieval life. The work is not almost done. It is never done. There is no clear line between work and not work. There's no moment where someone claps their hands and says, "That's enough for today." The day does not end because you are tired. It ends because there is no light left to see what you are doing. Work begins when you wake and slows only when darkness forces it to stop. If you are a farmer, your life follows the land. Plowing, planting, weeding, harvesting. Each task leads to the next. If you miss something, there are consequences. Crops fail. Food disappears. Hunger arrives quietly. If you are a craft worker, your hands are never idle for long. Tools need care. Materials need preparation. Finished goods need selling. There is always something that can be done, and if you stop, you fall behind. Even inside the home, work continues. Cooking, cleaning, mending, fetching water, chopping wood, feeding animals, caring for children. None of this counts as extra. It is just life. Modern life separates labor and rest. Medieval life blends them together until you forget where one ends and the other begins. There are no weekends. The concept would sound suspicious. Why would you stop when there is work to be done? Survival does not pause. There are holy days and festivals, yes. These provide brief breaks. But even then, animals need feeding, fires need tending. Some work always remains. Children work early, not because people are cruel, but because work must be done and small hands can help. Carrying water, watching animals, gathering fuel. Childhood is short. Old age does not guarantee rest either. If you can still move, you still contribute. Wisdom is valuable, but only if paired with usefulness. You would miss the idea of being off, the ability to stop without guilt. Medieval life does not reward idleness. Idleness is dangerous. Even when you sit, you are doing something, repairing, sorting, preparing, watching. Rest is active. This constant effort creates a slow, steady exhaustion, not the kind that comes from one hard day, but the kind that builds over years. People learn to function inside it. There is also the pressure of daylight. Artificial light exists, but it is expensive and weak. Candles cost money, oil costs money, fire costs fuel. When the sun sets, tasks must end or become inefficient. This makes daylight precious. You do not waste it. You do not sleep in. Morning comes early whether you want it or not. Time is measured differently, not by hours, but by tasks. You know what needs to be done before dark. That is how you plan your day. Modern schedules would feel strange here. Medieval time is flexible but demanding. Flexible in when things happen, demanding in that they must happen. There is also the fear of falling behind. A missed task can have consequences weeks later. A field not tended properly, a tool not repaired, a roof not fixed before rain. Work is preventative as much as productive. Even social interactions are tied to labor. Conversations happen while working. Stories are told while hands are busy. Friendship exists, but it fits around effort. If you stop working to socialize, you feel it. Someone will notice. Someone will comment. Work defines worth. This is not written down anywhere. It is simply understood. If you work, you belong. If you do not, you are a problem. Modern ideas of self-worth would struggle here. Identity is practical. You are what you do. Fatigue becomes normal. People rarely feel energized. They feel capable enough. That is sufficient. And yet, there is pride in work, quiet pride, a well-built tool, a good harvest, a cleanly done task. These things matter. The endlessness of work also creates a rhythm. Days blur together, weeks pass, life moves in cycles. This can be comforting in its own way. For a modern person, this would feel overwhelming. The lack of clear rest, the constant demand, the feeling that stopping is not allowed. Your body would ask for a break your environment cannot give. By evening, work slows, but it does not disappear. There is always something small left to do, always one more task that would make tomorrow easier. You finish it because you know tomorrow will come regardless. As darkness settles in, tools are put away, fires are tended, animals are checked. The day ends not with satisfaction, but with resignation. You are tired, deeply tired, the kind of tired that sleep will not fully fix. Tomorrow will look similar, different tasks, same effort. If you are used to structured workdays and guaranteed rest, this would break you slowly, not with drama, with repetition. Work never ends because survival never ends. And this is still just one day. As the day moves on and your muscles settle into their usual tired ache, you begin to notice another quiet presence in medieval life. It does not announce itself loudly, it does not always show its face, but it is there, shaping behavior, guiding choices, and sitting heavily in the background. Fear. Not constant terror, not panic, just a steady awareness that the rules are not gentle and breaking them can hurt. Law in medieval times is not about fairness as you understand it. It is about order, keeping people in line, protecting property, power, and stability. Justice exists, but it is uneven, and it depends very much on who you are. Laws are simple, but punishments are not. If you steal, you might lose a hand. If you argue too loudly, you might be fined or beaten. If you challenge authority, you might disappear. There is no assumption of innocence. There is no long investigation. Accusations carry weight. Reputation matters more than evidence. Trials, when they happen, are short. Judges are local lords or appointed officials. Their word is final. Appeals are rare and expensive. Most people do not bother hoping for them. Punishment is public. This is important. Pain is not just a consequence. It is a lesson. Stocks in the town square, whippings, public shaming, executions. These are meant to be seen. People gather. Children watch. Not because they enjoy it, but because this is how society teaches boundaries. You would find this disturbing. Medieval people find it educational. Fear keeps things running smoothly, most of the time. Prisons exist, but they are not meant for long stays. They're holding places, not correctional facilities. Punishment comes quickly. Release or death follows. Fines are common, but money is scarce. If you cannot pay, punishment becomes physical. The body is often the only thing you truly own. Laws also differ depending on class. Nobles are judged differently from peasants. Clergy have their own courts. What is illegal for one person may be ignored for another. This is not hidden. Everyone knows it. Complaining does nothing. Even accidents can lead to punishment. If your animal damages someone's property, you are responsible. If a fire starts in your home and spreads, consequences follow. The fear of making a mistake adds to daily stress. You watch your words, you watch your actions, you know who holds power and who does not. At the same time, law provides some structure. Disputes are settled, order is maintained. Without it, things could be worse. But mercy is inconsistent. You would miss legal protection more than you expect. The idea that rules apply equally, the idea that you can argue your case. Here, silence is often safer. Religious law adds another layer. Sin and crime blur together. Moral failure can lead to legal punishment. Confession helps spiritually, not legally. Punishment is also fast. There is no long waiting period, no appeals process stretching on for years. Judgment comes, and then it is done. This speed is terrifying, but also strangely efficient. Executions are public and common enough that they do not shock people. They are part of life. People plan around them. Markets may even form nearby. This does not mean people are cruel. It means death is familiar. Fear shapes behavior in subtle ways. You do not wander at night. You do not challenge officials. You do not speak out of turn. Modern freedom of expression would feel reckless here. Children learn early what not to do. Stories are told. Examples are given. Behavior is corrected quickly. There is also the fear of false accusation. Personal conflicts can turn dangerous. Enemies exist. Reputation protects you, but only if it is good. This creates a careful society, polite on the surface, watchful underneath. Even laughter is controlled in certain spaces. Respect is expected. Authority is visible. You might think you could navigate this carefully, and you could for a while, but one mistake, one misunderstanding, one unlucky moment could change everything. The randomness of punishment is exhausting. You cannot plan for it. You can only hope it passes you by. As evening approaches, fear does not leave. It settles in quietly, like the cold. You lower your voice, you follow routine, you stay within lines that are not clearly drawn, but deeply felt. Law here is not about justice. It is about survival. If you are used to rights, protections, and appeals, this would weigh heavily on you. Constant awareness, constant caution. And still, people live their lives. They adapt. They learn where the edges are. Fear becomes another background sound, like coughing, like wind, like footsteps on stone. You lie down to sleep, knowing that tomorrow the rules will still be there, watching.
By now, you may have noticed that medieval life does not leave much room for quiet personal reflection. But there is one presence that follows you everywhere, from morning to night, from birth to death. It does not always speak, but it is always watching. The Church. Religion in medieval times is not a weekend activity. It is not something you turn on and off. It is the framework through which people understand the world. God explains the weather. God explains illness. God explains hunger, luck, death, and survival. There is comfort in this. There is also pressure. The church shapes time itself. Days, weeks, seasons, and years follow religious calendars. Holy days interrupt work. Fasting days restrict food. Bells ring to mark prayer times. Even people who cannot read know what day it is by what the church says it means. You do not need to attend church to feel its influence. It is in the language people use, the oaths they swear, the fears they carry. Sin is not an abstract concept, it is practical. Sin can cause illness. Sin can ruin crops. Sin can bring punishment not just on you, but on your entire community. This creates a quiet, constant guilt. You watch your thoughts as much as your actions. Desire becomes dangerous. Anger becomes suspicious. Doubt becomes frightening. Confession offers relief, but it also reinforces the idea that you are always a little wrong, always in need of forgiveness, always being evaluated. For many people, this is comforting. Clear rules, clear answers, a sense that suffering has meaning. If life is hard, it is because God wills it, and God has a plan. For others, it is heavy. Every misfortune feels personal. Every failure feels moral. You would struggle with this constant moral pressure. Modern life separates failure from sin. Medieval life blends them together. The church also controls knowledge. Books are rare. Literacy is limited. Religious leaders are among the few who can read and write. This gives them authority. Most people trust the church because there is no alternative. Questioning doctrine is dangerous. Heresy is a serious crime. Faith is not optional, it is expected. Even doubt must be kept quiet. Children are taught religious ideas early. Stories of saints, miracles, punishment, and salvation shape their understanding of the world. Fear of hell is real and vivid. Heaven is a promise, but it is distant. Hell feels closer. The church provides community, festivals, music, shared rituals. These moments bring joy and relief from daily labor. They matter deeply. But even joy is framed by faith. Too much pleasure is suspicious. Too much laughter can feel sinful. You would miss moral flexibility, the ability to question without fear, the ability to fail without eternal consequences. Priests and monks are respected, but they are also human. Corruption exists. Hypocrisy exists. People notice but rarely challenge it openly. The church is powerful not just because of belief, but because it organizes life. It records births, marriages, deaths. It mediates disputes. It provides charity when it can. If you fall out of favor with the church, life becomes harder. Social isolation follows. Fear follows. Prayer is constant. People pray before meals, before work, before sleep, before illness. Prayer is hope, habit, and obligation. You would feel watched even when alone. God sees everything. This thought comforts some and unsettles others. By evening, after a long day of work and discomfort, people turn to prayer not because they are holy, but because they are tired. Prayer gives shape to suffering. It makes endurance feel meaningful. Modern self-help ideas would sound strange here. You do not improve yourself. You submit. You endure. You hope for grace. The church also explains death. When someone dies, it is God's will. This helps people cope with loss. It does not remove the pain, but it frames it. Without this framework, medieval life might feel unbearable. For you, the constant guilt might be the hardest part, the idea that even thoughts are judged, that doubt itself is dangerous. As night settles in, prayers are said, candles flicker, shadows move along walls. The day ends not with reflection, but with surrender. Tomorrow, God will still be watching. The church will still be guiding. Guilt will still be present. Faith carries people through hardship. It also weighs on them. If you are used to personal freedom of belief, this constant spiritual pressure would be exhausting. And yet, for medieval people, it is normal, comforting, necessary. You lie down to sleep under the same watchful sky, knowing that tomorrow's struggles already have an explanation.
By now, your body hurts in places you did not know existed.
Your hands ache, your back feels older than it should. There is a dull soreness that never fully leaves. In modern life, this is the moment you would rest, take medicine, maybe see a doctor. In medieval times, this is where things get uncomfortable. Medicine exists, but it is not comforting. It is a mix of tradition, superstition, religion, and guesswork. Some treatments help, some do nothing, some make things worse. And there is no clear way to tell the difference. Doctors do exist, but they are rare and expensive. Most people never see one. Care is usually handled by local healers, midwives, or whoever has experience and confidence. Pain is not treated as something to eliminate. It is something to endure. If you are sick, the first question is not, "What is wrong with you?" but "Why is this happening?" Illness is often seen as imbalance. Too much heat, too much cold, too much blood, too much bile. The body is thought to be governed by 4 humors: blood, phlegm, black bile, yellow bile. Health means balance. Illness means something is out of order. Treatment focuses on restoring balance. This might involve diet changes, herbs, rest, or bloodletting. Bloodletting is extremely popular. Too popular. If you feel weak, dizzy, feverish, or sad, the solution may involve removing some of your blood. Leeches are used, knives are used, cups are used. The logic feels sound to medieval minds. To you, it feels alarming. Pain relief is minimal. Alcohol helps a little. Herbal mixtures help sometimes, but there is no anesthesia as you understand it. If something needs to be cut, it is cut while you are awake. You are expected to be brave. Surgery exists, but it is brutal. Amputations are fast, not gentle. Speed is the skill. Infection is common. Survival is uncertain. If you break a bone, it might heal, or it might heal wrong, or it might never heal at all. Dental care is a nightmare. Toothaches are common. Extraction is the solution. There is no gentle option. The pain is sharp, quick, and unforgettable. Infections are everywhere. Small cuts can turn deadly. There is no understanding of germs. Cleanliness helps accidentally, but not intentionally. People believe bad air causes illness. Smells are dangerous. Rot is feared. Some of this is accidentally correct. Plagues come and go. When they arrive, fear spreads faster than disease. People flee, people pray, people blame. You would be terrified by how quickly illness can take over a community. One day someone coughs. A few days later, they're gone. There is no emergency response, no hospitals as you know them. Care happens at home or not at all. Children die often. This is tragic but expected. People love their children deeply, but they brace themselves. Emotional distance is a form of survival. Pain is part of life. Headaches, toothaches, joint pain, old injuries, these are normal. Complaining too much is frowned upon. Endurance is admired. Mental health does not exist as a concept. Sadness is spiritual weakness. Anxiety is lack of faith. Trauma is not named. People carry their pain quietly. Religion and medicine overlap. Prayers are prescribed. Relics are used. Holy water is applied. Faith is part of treatment. Sometimes it helps emotionally. Sometimes it does nothing physically. If you survive an illness, you are grateful. If you do not, it is God's will. This explanation helps people cope with randomness. Modern expectations of recovery would not survive here. You do not expect to return to normal. You expect to adapt. Scars are common. Limping is common. Missing fingers are common. Bodies tell stories of survival. You would struggle with the lack of certainty, the lack of control, the idea that seeking help might hurt more than doing nothing. As night falls, pain becomes more noticeable. The day's distractions fade. Aches settle in. You lie down hoping tomorrow feels better. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does not. There is no guarantee. People sleep with discomfort as a companion. They learn to live around it. Pain does not stop life. Life simply continues. If you are used to modern medicine, this would be one of the hardest adjustments. Not just the pain itself, but the acceptance of it. Here, healing is hope mixed with habit. Survival is success.
And even then, the body remembers everything.
By now, you have probably noticed something unsettling about medieval life. Death is not a rare event. It is not hidden away in hospitals or spoken about in hushed tones. It is visible, familiar, and always close. People do not say if someone dies, they say when. Death visits homes, fields, roads, and beds. It does not need permission. It does not wait for old age. It arrives when it wants, and everyone knows this. Children grow up seeing death early. Animals die. Neighbors die. Relatives disappear quietly and permanently. There is sadness, but there is also acceptance. Grief exists, but shock is rare. You would find this constant presence overwhelming. Life expectancy is low, but that does not mean people expect to die young. It means they know they might. Planning for the future is cautious. Hope exists, but it is fragile. Illness, injury, childbirth, accidents, violence, any of these can end a life quickly, sometimes without warning. There are no ambulances, no emergency rooms. When someone collapses, people gather, help if they can, and wait. Often they wait too long. Death usually happens at home, surrounded by family, surrounded by prayer. There is no sterile distance, no machines, just breath slowing, voices whispering, candles flickering. This intimacy with death shapes people. It makes them practical. It also makes them tired. Funerals are simple. Bodies are prepared quickly. Burial happens soon after death. There is no preservation, no long delays. Cemeteries are close to churches. The dead remain part of daily life. People walk past graves often. Names fade. Stones weather. You would miss the separation modern life creates between living and dying. Here, they overlap. Grief is real, but it is restrained. People mourn, but life demands continuation. Work does not stop because someone died. Fields still need tending. There is comfort in ritual. Prayers, bells, processions, these give shape to loss. They make it feel meaningful. Heaven and hell are central to how people understand death. Fear of damnation is strong. Hope of salvation matters deeply. Dying well is important. Confession before death is essential. A sudden death without preparation is terrifying. This creates anxiety. People worry about dying unprepared, about unfinished sins, about last moments. You would feel this pressure constantly, the idea that death can arrive anytime, and you must always be spiritually ready. There is also fear of ghosts, spirits, and restless dead. Stories circulate, shadows feel meaningful, sounds at night feel suspicious. The line between life and death feels thin. Plagues make death overwhelming. Entire families disappear, towns empty, bells ring constantly, the smell of death lingers. People cope by explaining God's will, punishment, testing faith. These explanations do not stop pain, but they make it survivable. Modern ideas of grief counseling would feel strange here. You grieve together, publicly, briefly, then you continue. Children learn early that life is temporary. This makes them mature quickly. Innocence fades fast. You would struggle with the lack of safety, the absence of reassurance, the knowledge that survival is never guaranteed. At the same time, this awareness makes life feel intense. Moments matter, food matters, warmth matters, company matters. People do not waste time the way modern life does. They cannot afford to. As night falls, death feels closer. Darkness hides danger. Fires flicker. Sounds carry. You lie down knowing that sleep itself is not guaranteed. People sometimes do not wake up. This thought is not dramatic here. It is normal. The constant nearness of death changes how people love. They love deeply, but carefully. Attachment is risky. It also changes how people fear. Fear is not sharp, it is dull, constant. You would miss the illusion of control, the belief that tomorrow is promised. Here, tomorrow is hoped for, not assumed. And yet, people laugh, they tell stories, they celebrate, they marry, they have children. Life continues because it must. Death is always nearby,
but it does not stop life. It simply walks beside it. For a modern person, this would be exhausting, emotionally heavy, always present. As you drift towards sleep, you understand something important. Medieval people are not brave because they face death. They are brave because they live with it.
After everything you have seen so far, there is one final realization that settles in quietly, without drama. Medieval life does not defeat you with one big disaster. It wears you down with ordinary days. Nothing has to go terribly wrong. A normal day is enough. You wake up uncomfortable. You are already tired. Your body hurts from yesterday, and yesterday was not special. It was just another day of work. There is no guarantee that today will be easier. You eat food that fills your stomach but does not excite you. The taste is familiar, always familiar. Hunger is never far away, even when you are eating. You dress in clothes that protect you but do not comfort you. They itch, they rub, they smell faintly of smoke and sweat. You accept this without complaint because there is no alternative. The air is cold or damp or smoky, sometimes all three. Breathing feels heavier than it should. Work begins immediately. There is no warm-up, no easing into the day. Your body is expected to perform because it always has. You work knowing that stopping has consequences, not dramatic ones, quiet ones. Hunger later, cold later, trouble later. This pressure never leaves. Every small choice feels heavier than it should. If you are careless, someone might get hurt. If you are slow, you fall behind. If you are unlucky, you suffer. Luck matters more than effort sometimes. This is difficult to accept. You notice how often you are uncomfortable. Sitting hurts, standing hurts, lying down hurts differently. Pain is not something to solve, it is something to carry. You become aware of how fragile everything is. Food depends on weather, health depends on chance, safety depends on behavior. There is no backup plan. You cannot escape into entertainment. There is no endless distraction. Stories are shared, but they do not erase exhaustion. Even joy requires effort. Social life exists, but it is shaped by survival. Conversations happen while working, laughter fits into gaps, silence is common. Fear is always present, but it is subtle. Fear of punishment, fear of illness, fear of hunger, fear of God. It hums quietly in the background. You would miss privacy, you would miss choice, you would miss comfort so much it would surprise you. Modern life trains you to expect solutions. Medieval life trains you to endure problems. You would try to adapt. Everyone does. At first, you tell yourself it is not that bad. You focus on the rhythm, the routine, the simplicity. But then your body refuses to recover fully. Sleep helps, but not enough. Food helps, but not enough. There is no moment where you feel restored. You realize how much modern life protects you without you noticing. Soft beds, clean water, pain relief, legal protection, choice. Here, nothing is guaranteed. Even rest is conditional. You rest because darkness forces it, not because your body is ready. And tomorrow will be similar. This is why you would not last a day, not because you are weak, not because medieval people are stronger, but because your expectations are different. You expect relief. Medieval life does not offer it. You expect fairness. Medieval life offers order. You expect improvement. Medieval life offers survival. Medieval people are not heroes. They are not superhuman. They are adapted to a world that demands constant effort and offers little comfort. You are adapted to a world that cushions you. This does not make one better than the other. It makes them incompatible. If you were dropped into medieval times, you would struggle with the small things first, the cold floor, the rough bread, the endless work. You would miss control more than anything, the ability to fix discomfort quickly. Here, discomfort is normal.
As night falls on your imagined medieval day, you lie down exhausted, not the good kind of tired, the deep bone-level tired that sleep does not fully fix. You listen to sounds around you, coughing, animals, wind, movement. You think about tomorrow, and it feels heavy. This is the moment that breaks you. Not fear, not violence, not disaster, just the understanding that this will repeat, day after day. Medieval life does not overwhelm with chaos, it overwhelms with consistency. People survive because they are born into it. They grow into the weight slowly. They never know anything else. You arrive already shaped by comfort. That difference matters. So when people say life was simpler back then, they are half right. It was simpler in choices, but harder in every other way. Nothing distracts you from survival. Nothing softens the edges. And yet, people lived. They loved. They laughed. They endured. Not because it was easy, but because there was no alternative. That is why you would not last a day. Not because you lack strength, but because you expect rest.